All right, everybody, and here we go. A match between Mouse Mana and my favorite old guy, HuK. So glad for him to be in the league. They're going to be squaring off. First map, it's going to be NASL's dual site. Of course, we have our good old friend Orb over here. Orb, how excited can you possibly be for this match?
I couldn't possibly be more excited. That's exactly how excited I am.
Boom. Headshot, sir. It's so great to start off the day with these two players going at it. We have Mouse Mana spawning in as the green Protoss. I guess he's warping in. Spawning in for the Zerg, I guess. And in the 3 o'clock position, we have as the red Protoss, HuK, newly acquired by EG, and looking really, really strong as well, I might add, because I think he was the best foreigner in the most recent MLG. He got 6th place, I think? 7th place?
Yeah, and I think he was the #1 Protoss as well. So definitely looking solid. One of my favorite players, one of my favorite Protosses. Love watching this guy stream. And of course, Mana, a very, very scary Protoss from Europe as well. So could have a very high level, scary PvP here on dual site. As we said, you know, we're going to be running into the possibility of 4-gate versus 4-gate, but on a map like this with a small ramp outside leading into the main. Doesn't necessarily have to happen, Andre. We could just see players defend with something like 3-gate Sentry, Gate, Robo, Gate into a fast Immortal, or a 3-gate Stalker Rush. Or, excuse me, 3 Stalker Rush. Yeah,
definitely. And you know what? These two players, well, HuK really showing his personality. He is such a cutie. Looks like they're just reminiscing about things that went on in the past. Okay, well, that's not game related, but Mana. All right, well, I'm not going to go too far into that, but we do see standard play coming out of both these players as opposed to, oh, actually, nope. I take that back.
Oh,
HuK is doing the hero build that we saw yesterday, where he's only using 1 chrono boost and saving it all for very, very fast 4 warp gate.
Wow, yeah, I know this build is going to just lower your probe saturation, of course, without that extra chrono on those probes, but it gives you enough chrono that you can actually have enough left over so you can throw down 1 on the Stalker and full chrono all the way through on the warp gate if you only use that 1 initial chrono on the Nexus. So it is possible that HuK is just going to be going for that fastest possible 4-gate here. Meanwhile, Mana has not dropped down a second gas of his own just yet, so I'm curious to see if he doesn't drop that down soon. It might just be 4-gate versus 4-gate here, although Mana with a very much lower amount of chrono boost left over.
Yeah, we'll see how this actually plays out. We can see HuK is being just that pesky player that he is in this early game stage, using that probe, getting the shields off, or what he really wants to do is make sure that his opponent's probes aren't mining for the longest time possible, while his scouting probe is not really mining for himself. But we can see both these players just making sure that they know exactly what's going on in each other's bases, and we'll see how Mana reacts now. You know, last time this happened, I guess the hero build, or the more Korean style build, was able to edge out his opponent. We'll see if that happens this game around or not.
It looks like the first Zealot from HuK is moving out towards the center of the map. He's trying to take some map control, holding that Zealot like a tower. He might have seen the edge of that probe. I believe he did in the center of the map there. But of course, without his first Stalker, not going to be able to actually do anything about it. The first Stalker is out in the center of the map, though. But Mana has the same thing, so we might just run into this Zealot Stalker probe or Zealot Stalker probe micro battle in the center to see who's going to be able to be the aggressor and throw down that forward pylon.
Oh, and Mana is going right around this entire army. HuK is going to be able to get a lot of position with this 1 probe. This is so scary. The first pylon is going to come up here. Now Mana realized what's going on. He's going to try to target this 1 Stalker. The probe is going to go up into the base, and it might put down a pylon. No, it does not. It looks like everything's going to kind of settle down, but this 1 Stalker, oh my goodness, it's going to be focused down. The 4 warp gates are in, and here we go. There's going to be warping coming in pretty soon.
Yeah, there's a second Stalker that's coming across the map as well, so HuK did keep up production, didn't halt it as some players do, so he will have 6 Stalkers here, although 1 is very low. With those 2 pawns, he's going to move up the ramp. Mana, unfortunately, his warp gate just completing now, since he was a little behind on that, only has 3 gates of his own with that double gas, so unless he can force these Stalkers back down the ramp and get some sentries, he could be in a lot of trouble.
Oh, and he is in a lot of trouble. Or here we go. probes are finally going to be pushed offline, so he's not going to be mining for a very long time. HuK is just going to back up and wait for another warp, and there they come. The Zealots do so well against probe. They're going to tear them apart. Meanwhile, the Stalkers are going to be able to range out. Finally, focusing down on the Stalkers, and these Zealots just prove it to be too much of a tank. Now focusing down that one pylon. Is it going to be an Artosis pylon? Yes, it is. Taking out two of those, oh my gosh, two of those gateways, and it looks like Mana is going to have to tap out. GG, and HuK's going to take game number 1. And you know what? HuK, he's looking so good. That Korean-style Protoss build is so strong. Jake, I know we were talking about this beforehand. Can you go into the Protoss 4-gate, that type of 4-gate style real quick?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. What HuK's done is pretty cool here. He gets that third gateway. He actually adds on a second Stalker. Now, most players, when they go for the 4-gate, they go Zealot Stalker, and from there, they just save up all their money. They get up 4 gates as soon as they possibly can, and then they just warp in the first 4 Stalkers. So it's usually 5 Stalkers and maybe a Zealot if you kept it alive, walking up your opponent's ramp when you're aggressive. But what HuK did with that second Stalker, it actually gave him so much more power. He had 6 Stalkers walking up that ramp. It might not seem like a lot, but 1 extra Stalker at that stage in the game in PvP, when you're desperately trying to get your warp gate out as fast as possible and just get 1 more unit than your opponent, it makes a huge deal. So for Mana's playstyle there, going for the 3-gate double gas, you really have to rely on holding your ramp with force fields. And since his warp gate finished so much later and he didn't have any sentries out, I mean, HuK just kind of walked up there and won the game.
Yeah, it makes definitely a huge different dynamic. We're going to see if what people are going to do, how Mana is going to be able to deal with that. Let's go ahead and check it out in game number 2. Let's see if Mana can come back or if HuK style is just going to be too much. The powerhouse EG player. Join us. We'll be back after this break.